are the gaps or the channels in cell membrane through which some ions enter into the cells or exits from the cells. Okay, so these are ion channels, and drugs can act through these ion channels. That means drugs can allow these ion channels to transfer ions through them, or drugs can block these ion channels as well. For example, voltage gated or voltage dependent calcium ion channels. So calcium channel blocking drugs act through this. Calcium channel blocking drugs, they block these channels and they block the passage of calcium ions through these channels. So by this process these drugs actually act. Now come to the types of ion channels. Ion channels can be of two types. They can be ligand gated ion channels and they can be voltage gated ion channels. What are ligand gated ion channels? As I have mentioned already, that ligands can be drugs, ligands can be neurotransmitters, hormones, etc. So when a particular ligand, suppose a drug, binds with that channel, binds with that ion channel, that channel will open and there will be passage of certain ions, or the drugs can block the channel as well. Okay, so ligand gated ion channels are those after binding of a certain ligand with that ion channel, that channel will go through some changes. Suppose the channel will open and some ions will pass through. Then come to voltage gated ion channels. What are voltage gated ion channels? Here drugs do not directly bind with these channels. What the drugs do, they produce a certain change in the cell membrane so that the voltage in the cell membrane changes. So the transmembrane potential changes and the channels open or the channel closes depending upon the voltage. Okay, so we will talk about these things later in systemic pharmacology when we will study individual drugs. Now come to enzymes. So you know what are enzymes. So certain drugs act through the enzymes within the body. The drugs can act the drugs can act on the enzymes in various ways. So what are the ways? I have given a few examples here, but there may be other processes as well. Number one, I have said here that drugs can act by enzyme inhibition. Some drugs inhibit some endogenous enzymes and produce some actions. For example, an antihypertensive drug, Ramipril, that lowers blood pressure. How that lower blood pressure? By inhibiting an endogenous enzyme that is called ACE, or angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay. Then another process where drugs act as a false substrate for an enzyme. As you know, enzymes have substrates. Substrates react and the enzymes help them to produce some effects, right? So these drugs acts actually as a false substrate. So there will be production of abnormal molecule. Okay, the normal molecule will not be produced. The enzyme will act on that false substrate. That means that may be the drug. So that can produce an abnormal product. For example, anti-cancer drug fluorouracil acting on purine synthesis. And how this drug acts, we will talk about these things when we will study anti-cancer drugs. But for now, just remember this thing, that fluorouracil replaces uracil, which is an intermediate in purine synthesis. Okay, so when fluorouracil replaces uracil, the enzyme will act on that, but as uracil would produce thymidylate, fluorouracil will not produce thymidylate, so there will be blockage of DNA synthesis and there will be prevention of cell division. We will talk about this later in anti-cancer drugs. Okay, there may be other process by which drugs act through enzymes. This is an interesting thing. You already know about prodrugs. Prodrugs are the inactive drugs which are taken, and after getting inside the body, these drugs are activated into active drugs. So how these drugs are activated? By enzymes. Which enzymes? The enzymes which are inside our body. Okay, so the endogenous enzymes. So you can see here the drugs can act on enzymes to be converted into active drugs from prodrug. For example, enalapril is converted to enalaprillate, which is the active form. Okay, now let's come to transporters. So transporters are protein molecules that help the movement of certain ions and small organic molecules across the cell membrane. So these are actually transporters or carriers, okay, which help the transfer of certain ions in and out of the cell. For example, furosemide. Furosemide is a diuretic, that means a drug which increases urine production. So furosemide acts by blocking sodium potassium 2 chloride co-transport system. Sodium potassium 2 chloride is a transporter. Okay, so this they block this transporter. They block this transporter on the renal tubules, and thereby they act. Okay, so when we will study diuretics, we will be very clear about these things then. Okay, for now just remember this thing, that will be enough. Now come to non-specific mechanism of drug action. What are the non-specific mechanisms? As I have mentioned earlier, there can be some physical processes or can be chemical processes. So for example, mannitol is an osmotic diuretic. Mannitol is an osmotic diuretic. So how does it act? It increases the osmolarity of tubular fluid. In renal tubular fluid, it increases the osmolarity, so it prevents reabsorption of water and salt through the tubes, renal tubules. Okay, therefore there is an increase in urine volume. So as you haven't studied the kidney systems yet, you will not understand this very well, but just remember these things for now, that mannitol is an osmotic diuretic and it acts through physical process. It changes the osmolarity of tubular fluid and prevents water and salt reabsorption, thereby it increases the urine volume. Okay, and what are the chemical processes? Chemical processes. By chemical processes, drugs actually react with a substance, maybe with endogenous substance, or maybe two drugs can react with one another. Here is an example that shows reaction of two drugs. Okay, both these things are exogenous. Okay. So protamine sulfate is a protein that is positively charged, and heparin, which is an anticoagulant, is negatively charged. So whenever there is heparin toxicity or heparin overdose, we want to counteract the action of heparin, we give protamine sulfate, and protamine actually it is positively charged, so it chemically reacts with heparin and neutralizes it. Hope you understand this.